Hi everyone, here are 5 signs you're not an ENTP. Number 1. You are cautious and slow to embrace new ideas and opportunities. ENTPs are types which have a dominant function of extroverted intuition. This is the intuition of ideas, and what it means is that this type is highly attracted to new ideas, new possibilities, new ways of thinking, just really any alternative thing to what they're currently experiencing in the present moment. So, by being attracted to whatever is novel, whatever is alternative, to want to actually expand the range of possibilities open to them, being such a fundamental aspect of who they are, if that doesn't sound like you, then you're most likely not an ENTP. I'd even go so far as to say that an ENTP, in being attracted to these new ideas and possibilities, is inclined to reject other people offering caution in regards to the ideas they wish to explore. Someone who wishes to narrow the range of possibilities, who tends to be very cautious before taking anything on, that's not an ENTP. And if someone is inclined to be like that, they're most likely a different type. In fact, someone like that is most likely to clash with an ENTP who is quite stubbornly invested in exploring these new ideas and opportunities, and often won't be told not to push that button to see what might be happening. Number 2, you struggle to learn new facts and apply them. ENTPs have access to both kinds of thinking, that's introverted thinking and extroverted thinking. One is their auxiliary function, the other is their demonstrative function. And what this means is that an ENTP is a type that can rapidly get across new information, can take in a large amount of new facts, and quite instantly know how to apply them across a large range of different situations. At the same time as this, they are doing what they really value, which is making sense of their world. So, in making sense of their world, they need to have some sort of coherent map or framework for understanding things. So how do you have a coherent framework if you're constantly coming across new information, which must, of course, change your mind about things? Well, this is the thing. The ENTP is very, very good, and so is the ESTP, at changing their structures in line with information that comes along. It's not that they just say, well, in this situation I think this way, in that situation I think this way. It is more that their actual structure is able to rapidly adapt and change. And so they can have a coherent way of explaining how everything fits together whilst integrating the new information they've come across. This means that their views of things can change quite a bit, but that doesn't mean that it's just pragmatic. It doesn't mean that they don't have a structural understanding of the world. It's just one which rapidly changes. So if you are someone who struggles to learn that information, who struggles to adjust your thinking with new facts, then, yeah, you're most likely not an ENTP. Number 3, you are judgmental and hold grudges against those you dislike. ENTPs have introverted feeling as a vulnerable function, which is sort of like a blind spot. It means that they repress those personal attitudes they form towards other people, especially when those attitudes are negative and inclined to cause distance between them and another person. ENTPs tend to instead look at reasons, structures, rules for why they should treat someone a certain way. It's very uncomfortable for them to be made to look at how they actually feel towards that person, and they may even avoid the question if you were to ask them, looking instead at something else. Often the ENTPs fall foul of, rather than being judgmental, not being judgmental or discerning enough with people, hanging out with the wrong sorts, letting the wrong sorts of people into their lives, saying yes to things even if they are personally sentimentally opposed to the idea, even if there's no sort of reason or logic for what they can reach to say, well, they shouldn't be involved in that particular thing. So ENTPs, in being a type which is always trying to broaden the range of possibilities, and in suspending sort of personal judgment, in repressing that, is very unlikely to use negative judgment as a reason to shut down said possibilities. Hence why the idea of an ENTP holding a grudge against someone is a very, very unusual thing to expect. And it's far more likely that they're just a different type. if you see someone who's an ENTP doing this in any sort of common way. 4. You are meticulous and carefully maintain the routines of your day. ENTPs are about ideas, possibilities, new perspectives, new ways of approaching things, keeping their possibilities and opportunities open. They're so distracted towards the alternative possibilities that they really struggle just to maintain the day-to-day stuff in their lives. Often they feel that if they have to engage with the real world, it's more about overcoming challenges and being forced to take on high-pressure activities, which they'll do, but they don't really enjoy. What they really would like to be able to do is to be at peace in the day-to-day, to have their environment harmoniously maintained for them. And this is the type which readily outsources that to someone else. ENTPs are very susceptible to people who can provide nice meals, who can look after the house, look after the day-to-day needs, so that they don't have to. And if they have someone in their life who's doing that, they'll be putty in their hands. The idea of an ENTP being very good at doing this entirely themselves and not getting quickly drained by having to do this sort of thing when their natural inclination is to be anywhere but here in the moment, well, that's most likely not an ENTP. Probably an ESTJ or something like that. Number 5. You are irritated by people who go at a slow, leisurely pace. Now, ENTPs, they can be very stubborn in terms of their ideas, and the idea that things should be kept open, that you should be able to explore new possibilities. They're so focused on this, but they're actually very yielding in terms of what's going on immediately around them. And so the idea of an ENTP can be sort of, in the moment, very sort of impatient in terms of how to have things right here, right now, is quite unusual. ENTPs, if they were to have an opinion in terms of their day-to-day environment, would actually like the peaceful, slower pace of life, as long as they're willing and able, as long as they're able to explore those new ideas and possibilities. So being around someone who operates quite in a sort of a leisurely pace, who simply goes with the flow and doesn't rush things, the ENTP is not going to mind that at all. This is the type which isn't inclined to rush, is inclined to be quite patient in the day-to-day. Again, it's about the ideas, not about the day-to-day actualities, where they wish to project a certain amount of control. So yeah, if you are someone who gets frustrated with the pace at which people are going, who tries to push people in the day-to-day to move faster, who tries to impact on their immediate environment in that sort of way, and has that sort of frustration in regards to the present-day environment, then most likely you're not an ENTP. More likely you are an ENTJ or an ENFJ. All right, so those are the 5 ways in which you can find out that you're not an ENTP. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. Please ensure that you subscribe and click the bell so that you get notifications on all my other new content coming through to the World Socionic Society channel. If you would like to find out your type, please follow the link in the description below to book your own diagnostic interview. And if you'd like to understand more about your type and all the other types, please consider purchasing my course, the link to which is also available in the description below.